Have you ever heard about burnouts? If you are not familiar with the term, oh boy, let me tell you, I am. My last video was a year ago and in it I said this. Sorry I failed you. So this is how the project is going. It still needs a lot of work, but the plan is that I will release the demo by next March. Yeah, I kind of fumbled, but I still managed to make a ton of improvements to the game, which when we last met looked like this. And now it looks like this. Although the journey was quite savage and painful, let me run you through it because for sure it was interesting. So first, we needed a combat system, because if you make a fantasy game, fighting is a must. The way I designed the combat is pretty neat. There is a pointer in the middle of the screen, which its direction was determined by where the camera was moving. And this little indicator gave us the direction where the attack was coming from. So now we could punch from the left or punch from the right. But what is the point of attacking if you can't parry? Well, now you can. The whole logic of the combat system is that if the enemy attacks you with the right blow, you can defect with the left blow. The only problem was that this was quite plain, so I had to add weapons. For this, I also needed a unique weapon managing system. I didn't want it to create a grid-based inventory like all the other games, because that is lame and old, get it out of the way, pfey. So I created this. Sanyi has a house which is, well, not so decorated, but on the wall there are weapons hanging. The player can interact with them. If you press E, you can choose a weapon for your right hand. If you press Q, you can choose the weapon for your left hand. You can combine these freely. I added some extra weapons, an axe and a mace. Now you can even choose 2 attacking weapons. You can buy weapons at the blacksmith. Which I added alongside with the barber. At the blacksmith, you unlock the weapons for money, and at the barber, you can get yourself some fine moustache for money as well. You get money for defeating champions. But where are the champions? Sanyi needs to fight with someone in a fighting game. For the enemies, I added a rigid body with the same logic as I added to the NPCs. I managed to make them rigid body, and with the help of my dear friend, now they walk around freely in the city with randomized color, facial hair and weapons on their back. But back to the enemies. Now that we had a capsule which is always looking and moving towards us, I reused Sanyi's model and animations, and with the help of the state machine, I made it attack the player. And so that the player wouldn't notice this cheekiness, I covered his face with a bucket. Now we had bosses with weapons and abilities. First was Pepper Johnny the Busho, who is our first boss. He fights with his fist and his ability is kicking. Then we have Blonde John, who has a bucket on his head, a mace, and his ability is jumping away from attacks. His lore is quite sad. He waits in front of the barber to revenge his fucked up moustache. Then we have Strong Steve the Viking with 2 axes. His ability is the Psych, which means that mid-attack he can change the direction of the blow, thereby tricking us. Then, as the last one, we have the Debrecen. One of them can dodge and one of them can heal. Now the gameplay looks like this. You spawn at your house with nothing, just your fists. You leave the house and go to your neighbor. He is Pepper Johnny. You can call him out for a fight. If you do so, he will let you know that he is ready. Now you have to go to the arena, and with an epic cinematic you enter the challenge. After you defeated him, you can get his ability and return to your home. If you die, you are met with an iconic text. This was the point where I totally burned out and haven't even touched the game ever since. Thankfully, my will to live came back. Remember Rough Souls? Forget it. This is Rough Souls Adventures now. How so? Now there are 3 game modes. The first one is Rough. This gives you the same combat system that I have developed earlier. The second mode is Souls. This is just an OG Souls game mechanic. Sanyi will be able to wield 2-handed weapons, dodge and fight against bigger enemies. And the third game mode is what I am the most excited about, the Adventure. In this mode you cannot fight, but you are able to climb ladders, jump, drive a fucking pirate ship with cannons and physics, and one day you will be able to ride these beauties. This is how the project is going. I am so sorry that I left, but I got tired of people asking me how the game is going. Take care, goodbye.